stick it out. It's games like that we're going to keep winning. As we get deeper in the season, the schedule gets tough. Stick with it. Shite for you guys going tonight.
Yeah! Hey boys, big win comes. Great game, buddy. Made a lot of big saves. Enjoy the day off tomorrow, fellas.
Yes. Great win, fellas. Top one on a back-to-back. This one's going to Isaac Phillips.
I don't know if I deserve this one, boys. A lot of guys blocking shots, doing the right thing to win, so I think today was very well.
Yeah!
That's humble.
Yes.
You sabotaged me, man. Like I think you might muted my microphone right off the top of the show.
Oh.
So I'll tell you what, I'll mute your microphone. How about that? There you go.
He already told me that it'd be much better. My mic was muted earlier. It'd be much better if your mic just stayed this way.
Right, but I can still hear you talking. That's the thing.
That's the problem.
Yeah,
Hello,
yeah,
everyone. Welcome to another edition of Check-In. I'm Sarah Lusky. He's Jamie Thomas. We are going to get you ready for tonight's game as this homestand continues for the Winnipeg Jets. The Florida Panthers in town. The first of two meetings between these teams in the next week and a half.
Yes.
The next
Which
one will
be
much warmer than what it is today. Hopefully, if you are in Winnipeg or the surrounding area, you are staying warm and safe because my goodness, is it ever cold out there?
I have two friends coming to visit. I'm like, this is literally the worst time.
Visit.
I'm like, we're not doing anything ever. Like, he's like, you want to do something after the game? No, I don't actually. So figure out something. Panther gumbo. Yes, delicious. Had that so many times. They've had a lot of success against Florida here since Paul Maurice went there.
There you go. Well, hopefully it continues tonight. Who do we have joining us today?
We have Doug Plagens, the voice of the Florida Panthers. Actually, I was texting him last night. I kind of apologize. Sorry about the weather because they just came here from Florida.
Yeah.
A little bit of difference
Just
in temperature. He's like, I like to find out what it's like and see if I can handle it. He said it wasn't that bad. That was yesterday.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Today.
Well, that was what I had said to someone too when they were from one of their broadcast crews that they were coming in and they said, I hear it's really cold. Could you have some nicer weather? I said, if you're not in town yet, just wait.
Yeah.
It's going to drop about another 20 degrees. So
that's where, like, I don't miss traveling that much, but next week when they leave for New Jersey and then it goes to the Florida part of the trip.
Yeah. You miss that.
I'll be jealous then.
Yeah.
Yeah. But enough about me again. Let's go on to the game itself.
So first off, they got an important 2 points against St. Louis. Game that in my mind they had to have, especially coming after the loss in Chicago.
Right. The loss in Chicago, I don't want to say it's devastating, but pretty close to it.
Yeah.
And then you get the early double minor and 2 power play goals on that. I thought they locked things down considerably well after that. Got the empty net goal from Mark Scheifele, 3 points each from Mark Scheifele and Josh Morrissey. Like just a gritty win when there wasn't a whole lot left in the tank. And I think that double minor that they scored 2 power play goals on was huge for them because then you could just get into whatever they needed to do to lock down the Blues. And then most importantly, you move in front of them in the standings.
Yeah, absolutely. I good afternoon to a lot of you. It's so great to see so many of you. I just wanted to say, like, Matt Hyman. Yeah. Good afternoon, Sarah. Also Jamie, I suppose.
Right. That's because I was making that. There it is. Yeah.
There.
It's because the microphones weren't working because of you.
Because of me. But it was...
These are on sale. Get these.
They're very cute. After that game, St. Louis, one of the things, I mean, they were so fortunate, let's be honest, that power play got going the way that it did early on, and they were able. I did not see that game becoming a special teams battle the way that it did in terms of the impact that it had.
Yeah, 2 for 3 at the power play, and then 3 for 4 on the penalty kill.
Yeah.
St. Louis, of course, had a double minor power play as well. And they gave up 1 power play goal and the other one. The reason why Isaac Phillips got the jacket, by the way, is he took one for the team. He got the high stick.
Yeah.
It's pretty nasty.
Yeah.
So he did deserve it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of block shots.
It wasn't just that decor sticking together.
Yeah.
Because they do like when they give it to each other.
Good point.
Yeah.
That's are you saying that's some intentional stuff going on there?
He deserved it. He absolutely.
Yeah.
He did. But, not expecting to see him in the lineup tonight, actually. If we take a look, we are expecting some changes to the lineup based on this morning's skate and the projected lines going up against a Florida team. So looking like Salamonson, who has missed the last couple of games and
Illness.
Phillips got called in. Yeah, he had illness. Phillips got called in Chicago at last minute because of how ill Salamonson was feeling. So he's doing better. So he's in there. And then Gus Nyquist draws out of the lineup again. Cole Koepke comes back in.
Right. And you're facing the two-time defending Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers. Man, what a year they've been going, like in terms of injuries and
It's unbelievable. So obviously no Barkov.
massive loss.
Huge.
Yeah.
You look, Matthew Tkachuk's only been back for one game.
Okay.
He came back in the game against San Jose, their last game. No Brad Marchand right now, no six out, Kulikov, and everybody. It's not as if people have just been missing 2 games, 3 games.
Yeah.
Like they've been missing the entire season so far, or
Right.
very large chunks of it. No Seth Jones. And word just came out that he won't be able to make it to the Olympics either.
Right. So like these are some significant injuries that
Yes.
they've had. And you go back to Matthew Tkachuk, he was already stirring things up against San Jose. Like it never takes him long to get under the skin of his opponents.
Well, and especially, I mean, he made the comment afterwards that, look, there is no opportunity for him with where they are in the season and in particular in the standings for him to be able to be eased back in. He's got to get back to his game and got to help them because right now, both of these teams, the Jets and the Panthers, are on the outside of the playoff picture. Florida right now sitting 5 back of the second wildcard spot in the East. Winnipeg is 7 back of the second wildcard spot. So this is a game in which both teams very desperate for the 2 points. And when you look at the lineups across the matchups across the NHL tonight, there's 8 games in total. The only ones that really impact Winnipeg in terms of
so that's where
the wild
resorting to now is scoreboard watching.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, at this point now, I'd like to see where they are with it. Nashville and Chicago play tonight. The only 2 above them in the wild card race that are in action tonight. So they've got some
No
some work
3-point
to do.
game.
No. So
No.
we
Just
we like
regulation,
that. But
please.
one of the things is that you look at all of the changes that Florida has had to make, but Scott Arniel still thinks that what type of game you can expect to see from this Panthers team.
If they're banged up with their injuries, no matter what, they're still a real competitive team, and proven that the last few years. They play heavy, hard hockey, and nothing's going to change. It's one of those games, if you're not ready to throw it back at them, it can be a long night. So what are they sitting 5 back of a spot? We're 7 back of a spot. I think both teams are extremely hungry right now and looking for points. So we got to match, be better, or match, be as good as what they're going to try to throw at us.
You know what I always think of too, now whenever Florida and the Jets get together in this building, it's like when Adam Lowry took a stick from the bench and scored shorthanded against Florida in the season opener. I think that was last year, was it not? Or was it 2 years
2
ago?
years ago?
2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Yeah, that was unreal. But these, for whatever reason, this is another one of those teams in the East you don't see very often that they always have spirited tilts with, always highly entertaining. And Laos talked about it earlier today about it'll be a good game based on where the situation for both teams. So if you would have told me just before the Olympic break that both Florida and the Jets would be on the outside looking in their respective conferences in the playoffs, no.
Oh, no. And I think absolutely. I think this is the type of game, though. You look, it's 2 veteran rosters, regardless.
Second and third in the NHL.
Yeah, in terms of experience they each have almost 14,000 games played. When you look across the roster, only the Kings have a more experienced roster.
And it's all by a lot too. So
yeah, but these 2 are close. But I think this is the style of game you're expecting, another hard, heavy game, and not a game in which you're expecting fights, but this is just going to be like that old-fashioned physical game. And this is a game where I think it plays into the third and the fourth lines needing to set the tone and really be the difference makers in it. I would expect the matchups to be first line versus first line. Expect Toews' line to go up against Sam Bennett's line, which has Tkachuk on it, or at least did last game. So I think it'll be interesting to see what happens out of this, but this should be an entertaining game.
Well, I think anybody that's going to brave the cold, come down here and watch this game, wants this to be what it will be. It was just a competitive game, lots of emotion, lots of passion. So I think anybody that comes and paying a ticket, and anybody who's watching at home or listening as well, you just need this because this ridiculous cold.
Did we mention it's cold? I didn't take off my coat until, well, it's 12:40 right now. So we
Yeah,
came
you
on at
just did.
12:30, about 12:28,
Mhm.
12:29. I thought, okay, fine.
You're like,
Maybe
turn up the heat in the
I'll
studio.
suck it up a little bit. This is definitely a soup day. And I have seen a few people put their soup orders in the comments right now, which is always great. I love seeing that. I love that soup has become such a thing with our show and with the group.
We keep talking about graphics and stuff like that. See, James, I'm eating so much soup already. I think I'm ready for a nap.
Oh,
James, your diet's elite, by the way. The fact that you eat soup every day and a different variety of soup.
So the Jets come into this game. One of the things, so it was Adam Lowry and Dylan Sandberg that
Yes.
spoke to the media today in the Jets dressing room. And one of the things that they spoke about was the belief that this group has in their season and in each other.
Yeah, and for good reason when you think about it, because of the way things have turned. And just, I mean, you cannot. One thing we always talk about, the effort's never been questioned. It's just the results weren't happening.
Yeah.
Now the results are starting to happen. And you said it best, they had to win that game against St. Louis after the dud in Chicago on Monday. They had to, and they found a way to get it done. But, the question is being asked, what is the belief in? And it's a logistical question because of all the adversity they faced this year, where they sit in the standings, but pretty much the same group. And they're fighting their way in. But here's some answers to that question.
We still believe that if we can keep stacking wins, we can keep putting together good stretches like we have this recent stretch that we can get ourselves back in the race. We haven't gained as much ground as I think you would have hoped with picking up as many points as we have, but at the same time, we're going to play the teams ahead of us, and it's important that you take care of those games, but you don't look too far ahead. I think we can only focus on the game that we're playing tonight, and once that's taken care of, you can move on to the next one.
Well, I just think we've seen it in the past where we've had good seasons, and we have a good team in this locker room, and we're very tight knit, which makes it a lot easier, and makes it more fun coming to the rink, and makes it a little bit easier playing on the ice, and we still have the same systems that we had in the past, and we trust it, and at some point it's going to turn for us.
Scott, with the points being so important right now in the stretch that you're in, what are you seeing from your guys in terms of sense of belief with the group?
Yeah, that's, I think once we got that win finally to break that streak of losses, it's the belief now is kind of back in there again, and we're feeling good. We're making plays, doing the right things. But the other side as well, not that we weren't doing it before, but you're really seeing the shot blocking, taking a hit to make a play, all those little things that you need to do to have success to win hockey games. But, there's desperation in our game now that we knew that, we're going to have to really put a push on here. And all our last 7 games have been really good. And
they have. He's not lying. A bunch of games have been really good. So very interesting next couple of games too. We'll consider the opponent, Eastern Conference, heavy portion of the schedule. No question that points have to be taken care of. Don't forget Doug Plagens, who has braved the weather here. He said all of 50 seconds, especially today, he went outside for it. Yesterday he said it wasn't that bad. He actually went to the corner.
Yeah.
Coolest corner in Canada.
Oh, the Windies with Portage and Maine.
Yeah, went to Portage and Maine. Said it wasn't that bad. I'm like,
for it. You know what? I appreciate that.
Yeah. Well, he's experiencing things.
Yeah.
I also like to experience the beach and the ocean. I force myself when I've been to Florida. No, you got to leave the hotel room. You have to do this. You have to face adversity and go out there and put your foot in the ocean.
You have to do it for all of us who cannot be there.
Right.
Exactly.
It was hard, and I found a way to do it. I talked to my psychologist, and I said, how am I going to do this? I'm so scared. I don't want to go in the warm weather.
When the Jets were out west, Logan Stanley joined us from the beach, I think, when he was out on his walk. And you have a ground control coming up with him that's released this week, I think, right?
Yeah, it's coming up. Talk to Big Stan. We also have a podcast coming up with Blake Wheeler.
With the alumni announcement. Oh, we didn't talk about the alumni
have not. Let's talk about
announcement.
We should talk about this because Adam Lowry made a very good point today. He's like, this team has been around long enough now that you can dig into Jets 2.0 and bring it pretty respectable amount of players in, but it's like Andrew Ladd, Brian Little, who I never thought I'd see on skates again after the lap that he did. Matthew Perreault.
Yep.
Chris Thorburn.
Yes.
And Dustin Byfuglien.
I mean,
Paul Stastny.
Yeah.
Like that's already 7 very respectable players.
I feel like bringing back 2018.
Yeah. I can't listen. You guys, anytime, the 2 times that Buff has been up on the big screen, I think it was Paul Stastny and Blake Wheeler's 1,000th game video.
Okay.
And he said like 5 words, which is so Buff. And people went bonkers. So I can only imagine just the presence when he gets here.
Yeah.
And on top of that, Josh Morrissey said he's got some special skates made for this situation.
That's great.
But it's like not even October yet. And he's already getting special.
See, I love that.
Yeah.
Who are you looking forward to? You know what? As we continue to talk about soup and a variety of things, who are you looking forward to? I'd love to hear. Who would you either out of that list, who are you looking forward to seeing most, or who would you like to see added to it? Because this is just the preliminary list, of course. We don't have full rosters yet for the Jets or the Canadians. But who would you like to see in this alumni game?
So I was asking Wheels, like, how hard has the recruitment part been? And he says not one person has said no.
That's awesome.
Or said, I'll get back to you. So the roster is going to be released. I'm curious, like, who are you going to get in net?
Yeah.
That's, that's what,
they have to be trying to get Pavlik in.
You have to.
It would be great. Just to be able to see it all together. I want to see a little Wheeler line.
Right. Because Wheels talked about that yesterday or Tuesday about how instrumental Brian Little was to his career.
Yeah.
Early on. And so you'd have to have that. The GST
line. Let's get them back. Let's just apply a lot of pressure to all of them that they need to take part in it.
Adam Party, I heard, was a request. So.
Oh, well, yes.
So I heard Kelly Moore talking about that on the post-game show the other night. So
that'd be great.
Put Buff in net. Yes, GST line. I don't know. Like, you can't not have the GST line here.
Right.
That's just like, to me, I would start with them.
Right. That's just because of how entertaining they are.
And the stories. And that's one of the things that Blake Wheeler talked about that he remembers most from the 2016 Heritage was that it was the stories that you heard Wayne Gretzky, Dale Howardchuk, so many of the Oilers greats tell about that time and about playing. He said to him, well, that's you now. The best division in hockey.
Yes.
Period.
But people now, that were young watching you want to hear the stories from you, which I appreciate. They are not quite as far removed as what we saw with Gretzky and company, because obviously a number of the players on these
That's
teams.
A good one. I would love to see Carey Price for the Habs.
Yeah,
absolutely. That would be amazing. So apparently,
a buff blanket.
Yeah. How can you not have a
for it?
Giant. But did someone print it off or knit it for you or something?
Enstrom would be great too.
Mark Stewart. Yeah.
Toby and Buff reunited.
Oh, Enstrom.
That would be great.
And
so there's a lot. So it's something for everyone to look forward to and for us to keep an eye on in the coming months. Of course, this game is not until October, but it is a game that.
But we're allowed to get excited about it.
Absolutely. It's a game that you don't want to miss out on. So when the ability to grab tickets, I believe priority given to season ticket members. So a little plug there. We want to make sure.
I would love to see Buff with Stan just for fun.
That would be great. Wouldn't that be great? So, so you have the Logan Stanley, who is obviously being very talked about throughout this season for a variety of reasons. Not only his play on the ice, but because of that, there's been a lot of talk about, with trade deadline coming up not long after the Olympic break, his name has been thrown around a lot as a player that is generating a lot of interest because, of course, he is in the final year of his deal, expecting it to be a substantial raise for number 64.
So good timing.
Yeah. Hey,
to be in the final year of your contract.
That's when you want it. But
when he was on the power play the other night, one thing for sure that's going to be brought up with Stan is the fact that the massive change in the narrative surrounding him.
Yes. It's just, I've never seen anything like it in this market.
One calendar year.
It's unbelievable. Just before we get to talk about tonight's game, I do want to quickly promo.
He's just warming up right now, so just give him some time. Yeah.
I do want to promo that tonight we have Runway debuting in the first intermission. Of course, it's just a small sample of what you're going to get, but this is the quickest turnaround that our crew has ever done.
They probably didn't sleep.
It was Carter, full flowers, snaps, whatever you want to give to Carter Norman for doing the quick edit on this one. So it is a behind-the-scenes look at Jonathan Toews returning to Chicago. Of course, that only happened on Monday. And here we are on Thursday. So here is a quick just snippet of what you can expect, because this is a runway you are not going to want to miss.
That's a nice release on that twig.
Walk a lot of them.
Oh, that's a perfetti.
Goosebumps, Mayor. Goosebumps.
All right. Let's play it out.
And he's skating around the whole rink now, as he should. Absorb it all, Jonathan. Enjoy it. You have earned it.
So see, Paulie's thing at the end gets me going every time.
I know, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's the pause with it. Paul does such a great job with those kind of dramatic moments.
Well, all the comments here about crying and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so
he earned it, huh?
Yeah.
Isn't it? So a tremendous job. That's just a small sample, a small glimpse of what we have, including from that section, because it goes on obviously for a more extended period of time. So we just wanted to give people an idea of what they can look forward to seeing with the access that we got for this runway piece. So look forward to that tonight.
Somebody that's probably cried tears of joy many times the past couple of Junes.
It's true.
There's a guy calls the games for the Florida Panthers, Doug Plagens. Probably a lot of envy for him. As he smiles there with his 2 Stanley Cup rings, just hanging out in cold Winnipeg. So can you tell our viewers, Doug, about how you decided to brave the cold weather and experience Portage in Maine? How did that go for you?
It was great. It was great. I'd always wanted to go see what North America's windiest and coldest intersection had to offer. So last night we got to town and it was tropical. It was only like 10 below for us Fahrenheit enthusiasts. And my phone doesn't usually, the thermometer of my phone, the temperature reading, it doesn't usually get that low. So what better time than this to go out and see what Portage in Maine looks like. So I walked there outside. I didn't take the tunnels.
Nicely done.
Yeah, that's the right way.
Dressed warmly, enjoyed the experience, took a selfie, and I left. That was about it. It was a great experience, and really enjoyed it. And like I said, I always said one of these days in Winnipeg, I got to go and see this Portage in Maine thing everybody's talking about. So went over there last night. I grew up in Michigan, so I like to.
Okay, so you understand. I mean, not this cold, but you can appreciate it.
Places, though, I like to go outside. I like to experience the elements, and I like to just plain and simple make sure I still got it. So that's why I went for a walk last night.
So great comments already. What's your soup is a big conversation piece on this show, Doug. So what is?
I'm not quite sure how it started, but it's really grown over this season.
Yeah. So what is your soup of choice, Doug?
So this is a funny one, and this opens up a whole different can of worms. This is how I know that I have a totally different audience here, because the folks in South Florida and the people who tune into, for example, our team podcast, Territory Talk, and things like that, it's been kind of a running thing. I don't do soup. There was a bad incident in the winter of '96. I don't eat soup. I'm not touching the stuff. I don't do any soup. And it's funny. I this morning I texted my wife that I got an extra large hot coffee from Tim Hortons this morning, and I don't do hot beverages. Like even if it's cold outside, I don't really like hot beverages. But I said, if it's like 10 below or colder, that's the threshold it has to get to. I'll do a hot coffee at that point. So I had a hot coffee this morning.
A great comment from Matthew. 30 years, no soup?
No soup, and no plans to change that anytime soon.
I also like this OMG incident in '96.
So, I mean, obviously we're going completely off the rails here, but what happened in '96, Doug, that has you so petrified of soup?
I think everybody out there can probably empathize with this one, but and also to put it in perspective, at the time I was like 11. I was a picky eater to begin with, and I was just kind of getting on to soup. Like I was just starting to kind of go.
You were warming up to soup.
Yes, no pun intended.
That's right.
I was starting to become a little bit more adventurous. I had soup, and then typical like elementary school, the flu bug starts going around.
Oh yeah.
It was the last thing I had before a bout with the flu bug, and therefore, without getting into anything else, to this day, it just brings back bad memories. So I just don't want to have soup anymore.
Okay.
Okay, I appreciate that dedication. Like that is, it's Eric Comrie like.
Yeah.
With it, Eric Comrie years ago, well, when he was very young, wanted his milk, I think, and his mom said you can't, or his bottle couldn't have it anymore. And so he said, well, if you don't give it to me, then I'm never going to drink. I'm only going to drink water going forward.
He's only drank water, dude. That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
See, that's commitment.
Yep.
That's impressive.
So you are, you know,
You and
you're
Eric
almost at
Comrie,
that level.
same,
That's right.
same.
So when they
I
come
just don't,
to
I
Florida,
just don't want my food
you can
floating
talk.
in hot, salty water. That's all it is. I don't need my food submerged or floating. I like it on a plate solid.
Oh, all right. Let's talk hockey.
Okay. How is this team where they are, considering the amount of games missed by like key players? And I know the Florida Panthers should not be on the outside looking on the East, but how they kept it together so well to be within striking distance without Sasha Barkov. And I don't need to go on a list because it's ridiculous.
It is crazy to talk about what this team's been without this season. And we talked about it a little bit this morning, but I think first and foremost, obviously the game is not going to look the same when you take Barkov out for, the whole season to this point. Matthew Tkachuk the entire season up until the last game. Dmitry Kulikov's been out since game 2. Jets fans know him well. And Seth Jones has missed the last handful of games. Brad Marchand has missed the last handful of games. Tomas Nosek and Jonah Gadjevich, maybe not guys that get the headlines, but that was 2/3 of the Panthers' fourth line during the Stanley Cup run last year. They've been out. Nosek hasn't played this season. Gadjevich has been out for a while. So it's been kind of, for a while there, just felt like it was one after another. Obviously, Tkachuk coming back and Cole Schwindt coming back and starting to get that feeling of some good news, players coming back in. I think, we talked about it a little bit this morning, but with a team like this, when they've accomplished what they have, the starting point is there's nothing that you can throw at these guys that they haven't seen. They've overcome a lot of adversity over the last few years, getting to 3 straight Cup finals, winning 2 Stanley Cups. It hasn't always just been smooth sailing. There have been different bumps in the road that they've had to navigate along the way. So there's nothing that is going to phase these guys, for lack of a better way to put it. They know how to navigate these kind of things. So you can't put a price on experience, especially when it's the best kind of experience, winning experience that these guys have. On top of that, the system that Paul Maurice has put in place here, and when you have the leadership of guys like Sam Reinhart, for example, doing what he's done all season long and what Sam Bennett's been doing, and the guys that have been taking on some increased roles as the season's gone along with certain players out. It's a group of guys that knows exactly what the game needs to look like night to night, and they know exactly how they need to play it if they want to keep this thing moving forward. And I think it really is. It's kind of a glass half full way to look at it, but it's the honest assessment to this point, considering what this team has been without, to have themselves in a position where if they can play well, build on this, and have a winning record the rest of the way, they're going to be in a position to contend for a playoff spot in a very crowded, very competitive Eastern Conference. And it's been pretty impressive to see. And like I said, a lot of credit goes to the leadership in the room, Paul Maurice and his staff, and obviously Bill Zito for assembling a lot of depth, because the Panthers have needed to use that depth this season. But I think that's kind of long-winded, a lot of different angles to it, but the way that the Panthers have been able to keep this thing going this season with the key players out of the lineup.
You mentioned the system that Paul's implemented there for the years. And I mean, we were discussing before you came on or earlier in the show about how this is the veteran-laden roster. I mean, just like Winnipeg in terms of experience. But has he had to adjust the style or the system at all, given the players that are out? Or do you find that the players that they have had come up, the depth, is able to just kind of integrate itself in?
I think it has been a lot of players being able to slot in and just trying to keep it all moving forward. I think at the end of the day, anybody can look at it and realize without, for example, Barkov and Tkachuk not being in your lineup over a full season, that's 160, 180 points out of your lineup. So things are going to look differently, but with the personnel that's there and the straight lines and the forecheck and everything that's expected and the defensive structure that the team plays with night to night, I think it's been something that everybody here has been able to just, certain guys have taken on an elevated role. We've had some guys come in here that have been called up who've done a good job. And, I think that's the biggest thing is guys just know exactly what they need to do. They know what their role is. They know what the game needs to look like night to night. And I think that's the biggest thing is it is going to look different night to night when you have key players, guys that play 20 minutes, for example, out of your lineup. But overall, there's so much experience with this group and such a strong leadership in the room and things like that I think it just makes it. It's not easy. I'm not saying it's easy, but it makes it more seamless, I guess, when you have to plug in different players and elevate their roles.
Okay, you've been fortunate enough to call 2 Stanley Cup winning games. Very unique in any play-by-play announcer's career. What was it like the other night to call a goaltender fight? Because that does not happen every day. Sergei Bobrovsky, Nedeljkovic from the Sharks. What was that like?
It's funny you mentioned that. I hadn't really thought of it till this point, but I've called as many goalie fights in my nearly 1,400 professional hockey broadcasts as I have Stanley Cup clinchers. So yeah, they don't happen very often. But I was actually chatting with somebody about this morning, but between the ECHL, the American League, and the National Hockey League, I think I'm around 1,400 or so pro games broadcast at this point, and that was only my second goalie fight and my first in the National Hockey League. And it was for you nostalgia fans out there, the first one I called was like 12 years ago. It was in Cleveland in the American League, and it was Sammy Idacalio, who was the Lake Erie Monsters goalie at the time, and Scott Darling, who went on to play somewhat substantially in the National Hockey League after that. And I just remember, and they met at center ice. It was a little bit different field. They met at center ice, and I remember Sammy doing a post-game media, and he was asked about fighting Scott Darling, and he said, I got out to center ice and I forgot how big that guy was in Scott Darling. So that was kind of what I remember from that. But this one the other day, I think there are a couple of different layers to it. First of all, it's kind of that like unspoken kind of goalie code. I feel like Sergei Bobrovsky thought that Alex Nedeljkovic maybe crossed a little bit of a line. He got himself involved over in the corner there in that scrum a little more than he had liked. And he went out and they took care of things the old-fashioned way. But I think it's also kind of emblematic of the all for one for all mentality that this Panthers team has had the last few years. We talked to Sam Bennett a few years ago about it, and he said, if there's a scrum, if another team takes a liberty against a guy, there is a pack mentality that this team has, and you've seen it in these deep playoff runs the team's had the last few years. And I think that was just another example of that. Sergei felt like, his counterpart at the other end maybe went a little too far, and he wanted to come down and handle things. And it was, I tell you what, to say it's generated some conversation and drawn in some eyeballs would be an understatement, because it's been the talk of the sports world for the last 48 hours.
Doug, last one before we let you go. Sarah's former coworker, Jay Onright. Is Sergei Bobrovsky aware of the Bobrovsky rage up here with Jay Onright on SportsCenter?
I'm not sure.
I'm going to have to send you a video of it, because you know how you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Bobrovsky's on the case.
Bobrovsky on the case, and he always goes Bobrovsky to everything in the highlight pack. So I'm going to send it to you. Yeah, I'm sad that I didn't get this to you beforehand, but appreciate the time. So glad you got to call a goalie fight. We're not, of course, encouraging people to have goaltender fights, but when they do happen, they sure are fun.
Yeah, we haven't had a broadcaster fight. That's one thing we haven't had happen yet. Hopefully we don't ever have.
I was hearing some stories today that there was some tension up in the press box here in Winnipeg over the last week. So you never know. Just keep your wits about you.
Yes. I like Paul Edmonds too much.
That's pretty much the case. Yeah, he doesn't have enough people not liking him. So you're gonna have to find somewhere. There's gonna be somewhere else you're gonna have a broadcaster fight, my friend.
We're fortunate that we work in an industry where there are a lot of really nice people. I don't really want to have to drop the headsets at any point with anybody.
God,
It's true.
It'd be so much fun though. Doug, appreciate the time, man. Thanks so much as always, and look forward to talking to you real soon.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Doug.
Thank you.
That was fun.
All right. Great guy.
It was a good show, hey?
Great call. It was. It's time to roll, though.
I've got money on Sawyer. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Sawyer could beat the crap out of Robertson
But now, no. I just feel, could he really?
for sure. You don't think he has this?
No, he's just
So nice and happy all the
he's just
time?
happy now. I don't know. I'll have to ask him that
Paulie
today.
would win a broadcast fight, I'm sure.
For it.
I hear Dan Robertson is a wicked red hook. See? This is the conversations you have to have on a freezing cold Thursday in Winnipeg.
Is it?
Forget the game.
All right, but
The
we
game
do
in
have
itself.
to go because
Yeah.
Winnipeg Sports Talk is underway. So head over there for more Winnipeg Jets talk because you know that Huss is going to continue to get you set for tonight's game between the Panthers and the Jets. Reminder: Winnipeg 12-9-4. They're coming in off of that 3-1 win against St. Louis. They have one more game left after tonight in this homestand. Detroit is here on Saturday, so Mason Appleton.
Kane and Toews back together.
That's right.
Again.
Kane and Taves. You've got Appleton returning.
Yeah. Andrew Kopp.
Of course.
Ben Sherratt.
There's a bunch. So
Yep.
that will close out the homestand. So if you aren't able to get down here today, then being down here on Saturday would certainly be the way to go. Because then, next thing you know, it's the Olympic break.
Right. And you're out of here you're not here Saturday.
I'm not.
So our co-host was supposed to be Ken Weeb, but Ken Weeb said I thought he was only guesting, but I think he doesn't realize that he committed to co-hosting.
But you just tell him that he's just going to guest for 30 minutes.
Well, guesting for 30 minutes. Like, what do you think this
That's
is?
all.
Don't commit and then just go, oh, I don't know. I thought I was just guesting. Well, it is guesting. This
For
is Sarah's
30 minutes.
spot. Yeah. That's
All
it.
right. You can convince him to.
Totally.
All right. Twist his arm a little bit. Otherwise, you might be hearing about a broadcaster media fight.
I'll fight him.
Let's-
I'll fight Kenny's water
No.
bottle too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Now we know we need to wrap things up.
Right.
Thanks so much for checking in, everybody. Enjoy some soup, whatever type is that you have. Stay warm out there. Stay safe because it is cold out. But looking forward to a great game here.
Get your
inside.
plushies. Get your
There you go.
plushies. Yeah.
Looking for a great game here tonight between the Panthers and the Jets. Paul Maurice and company back.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thanks for checking in.